Alright folks, we have come back, and now let's start the next case in Sinner's End, or excuse me, Crimson Banks. Looks like I get to go in it for free. Burning Bridges.
Forecast is shaping up for early next week. Question: have you ever felt the state?
Matthew, we thought it was bad enough when the gangs escalated their war by attacking the police, but now there's open violence in the streets. Clearly, this is why the Irish and Italian gangs have been stockpiling guns. Franca and Samus want their gang members to hunt each other down. The police stations are overwhelmed, and Rose and Bontemps are out there trying to organize law enforcement efforts. Matthew, come quickly. A body has been found on the bridge between the two banks. Another body? How long can this go on? The fire brigade came across it when they were putting out the flames. There's not a second to lose, Matthew. Let's get to the bridge at once.
Still to come on Island News at 10 tonight. Did JetBlue kick a mother and her 3 children?
I believe this is case 35.
Because her 1-year-old was misbehaving.
Yep, 35. Okay, but first of all, I am going to change to I'm going to change to the Mountain Goat because I do need to get some money. Where's the Stiff? Bloody Rag. Oh my. No head on there. Man, that's gruesome. There we are. Gonna get the first star no matter what. Okay. And I got the gold crown already, but I already have the first star. Oh my word. When Constable Ramirez said they found a body on the bridge, I thought, well, I thought there would still be a head attached. What sort of monster would do such a thing? Do you think it's to do with the gangs who've set the bridge on fire? You're right. A name is on the victim's leather satchel. Bridget B. Oh no! I believe you're right, Matthew. This is Bridget Baker. She was the plumber girl you met during a previous investigation. And that rag's got blood on it. No doubt it's the victim's. But you're right. There's also a partial footprint, but it's smudged. Maybe the dirt could tell us more if you collect a sample. Now, if only a witness had... Did you hear that? Someone's sneaking around. Hey, you, get over here. I'm not sneaking. I'm just a newspaper boy on my way to sell papers. Name's Timmy Tanner. Please step aside with this, Timmy. Senior Trooper Matthew needs to ask you some questions. You're right, Matthew. Gang war or not, we're getting to the bottom of who committed this gruesome murder. And I need to get some more stars. So sit tight, everybody. Alright, folks, you come back. I'm going to examine the bloody rag first before I talk to Timmy.
Breaks up the storm quite a bit. So we'll keep an eye on this again. Right in center, yeah, that is
Got it. Dirt. Perfection, Matthew. You collected the dirt from the killer's footprint on this cloth. Let's hurry it over to Viola, shall we?
We're concerned about our key tides coming up on Friday and Saturday. It'll be in the afternoon, so about
3 hours. And let's talk to Timmy Tanner. Paper boy. Senior Trooper Matthew, I don't know how I can help you. I just saw that grisly body and I wanted off the bridge right away. I understand that must have been shocking. Did you know anything about the victim, Bridget Baker? Oh no, that's Bridget? I'm gonna be sick. Bridget was my friend, a street kid like me. To see her like that. Had you seen her recently? I saw Bridget at the hospital and I was getting patched up after I was mugged, but I never really saw her after that. The hospital, you say? Then Senior Trooper Matthew and I will go there at once to investigate her stay. And meanwhile, please stay safe, Timmy. I managed to get the first star earlier, although I'm not 100% confident with where everything is. I figured that this is the best way to do this. Just learn the scene before I handle this other one. I used to do that before, but now I have all the energy. I can just burn it up. Then I can just burn a lot of energy with this. But I want to keep myself above the threshold because I'm already over 130,000. See the cat? Got it in 4 seconds. Got the first star.
Taking care of me.
They are the women of Hawaii, and we are here to keep them healthier. From women's primary care to maternity care.
My, but St. Sulpicius Hospital is a dreary place, isn't it? Not sure how anyone could get well here. Be that as it may, if the victim was staying here, this could be her suitcase. Please open it quickly. There could be a clue. And what could that torn paper be, Matthew? If you piece it together, we may find vital information about the victim. Oh, let's handle everything right now. I got all the stars. I got a lot of stars. More than enough needed. Just got the 9 in time. Why, this paper is a hospital admission form for Bridget Baker, so she really was staying here. And it appears Nurse Hatchet admitted her. We've met her before. She was working with Dr. Wilson in Sinner's End. I must say, I'm surprised that such an ungenerous person would end up working in a hospital. You're right, Matthew. We must speak with Nurse Hatchet immediately to learn more about Bridget's stay in the hospital. Jemima Hatchet. Pretty sure this is number 3, but I'll make some edits in case it's not. Let's see what Jemima Hatchet has to say. Nurse Hatchet, we found a document stating that you admitted a Bridget Baker to St. Sulpicius Hospital for dehydration and fever. Yes, we took care of her, and then she up and left before we could finish her treatment. What of it? Miss Baker has been murdered. We were hoping that you could provide us with more information about her. Murdered? I see. Well, I can't tell you anything. I neither know nor care where she went after she left. You don't seem very concerned about your patients or their well-being, Nurse Hatchet. Do you have any idea how many people have been in and out of this hospital since the gang wars began? Of course you don't. Neither do I. I came to Crimson Banks from Sinner's End hoping for a calmer environment, but just look at the mess these gangs have made. I cannot keep up with the whereabouts of every single patient. They are free to go. especially when they can't pay, and that girl was no different. Well, Nurse Hatchet, we may need to speak with you again in the near future, so please at least keep track of yourself.
Premature babies who can't drink anything else. She sends it to the milk bank that supplies hospitals nationwide.
Locked suitcase.
She does get paid. It's a good thing.
QF8.
How much
She must be burning so many calories.
6KY. 29S. Ah, missed out on the 9. That's okay though.
sounds of the Lola. Can I benefit culture to help the people?
You've opened the suitcase. Let's rummage through the contents to see if it belongs to the victim.
Popeye's Louisiana chicken, bringing Hawaii there. 12-hour marinated fried chicken. Love their chicken from Popeye's, providing close
Okay.
for KITV Island News. Jimmy Kimmel Live would like to
And let's get the open suitcase out of the way.
What's in them? Don't worry about it.
A leprechaun statue. Given all the men's underwear in the suitcase, it clearly did not belong to the victim. But I recognize the leprechaun that you found in the suitcase, Matthew. That leprechaun is from Patty Wax. That was Dermot McMurphy's pub. He couldn't bear to be parted from this leprechaun. It's probably all he has left at the place. The last time we saw Dermot, he was mixed up in another one of our murder investigations. You're right, Matthew. We should definitely ask Dermot what brought him to the hospital and if he saw Bridget there. Maddie, you sweet thing. How kind of you to visit your old Dermot in the hospital. I'm touched. I really am. Dermot, Senior Trooper Matthew and I are not here to bring you chocolates and sympathy. We need information. Well, if you want to know why I'm here, you might have noticed there's a gang war on, and I'm collateral damage. These gangs will harm anyone standing in their way. You're in better shape than Bridget Baker. She was murdered right on the bridge in a most awful way. Little Bridget? The odd jobs girl? That's terrible. There, but for the grace of God, go I myself. I saw Bridget here in the hospital the other day, but I wasn't well enough to speak with her. But tell you what, if anything more about Little Miss Bridget springs to mind, I'll give you a holler. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have come back. I'm under unlimited energy happy hour, so let's get the results of the dirt. Oh, Matthew. As a girl, I was fascinated by tales of headless horsemen and such, but now headlessness is too close for comfort. It is quite a shock, I agree. But what about the sample Matthew collected from the killer's footprint? The bulk of the sample was a type of fine dirt used exclusively at greyhound racing tracks. The killer must have been at the dog races to have tracked this dirt onto the cloth. So the killer likes to watch hounds race in circles to chase a bunny. Charming. Well, I'll place a bet that you'll find the killer in record time, Matthew. And why don't I go ahead and speed up the autopsy, even though it's another hour from now, but I'm under limited energy, so I don't think it should matter. Matthew, you really must stop sending me bodies and parts. A young girl has died, Dick. I am not in the mood for jokes. Can you tell us anything about how she was killed? Well, I can tell you the cut wasn't very clean, but it was clearly made with a sharp blade, so be on the lookout for that. And you want to keep an eye out for any suspects that enjoy stucco wafers. I found traces of the powder that covers those candies on the body. There weren't any wafers in the victim's stomach, so the candy powder came from the killer. Excellent. We know the killer has a sweet tooth for stucco wafers. It's a start, Matthew. Yes, it is. Matthew, I simply cannot imagine who would have wanted to brutally decapitate Bridget Baker. Could she have been a victim of gang violence? The Italians and Irish are waging a full-scale street war after all. So far, Nurse Hatchet is a suspect, and she's hardly the paragon of compassion. And there's Dermot. He's a troublemaker, but I just can't imagine him killing a young, defenseless girl. To top it all off, we still haven't found the rest of the victim. We have the body, but not the head. Matthew, I think I may be able to help with that. I'm fairly sure I found the victim's head. Well now, nice job, Ramirez. We'll see if that's the case as we go to Chapter 2. See y'all then.
Learn more about you at 23andme.com.
Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's start Chapter 2 of Burning Bridges.
23 days, and by August 3rd. Details at 23andme.com.
Matthew, I was just patrolling the nearby playground, and I'm fairly sure I found the victim's head. Great job. So where is it? Did you take it to Dick at the morgue? Not exactly. I'm really sorry, Matthew. I got nervous, and I dropped it. But it's still on the playground somewhere. Then Matthew and I know exactly where we need to be. To the playground with us. We must find the victim's head.
TV's best local drama.
Seems I got some more energy coming my way. Thank you very much.
Alex. What happened? She said she was having a heart attack. She was touching me on side. She said the tenants in her house were pedestrian and said about the church. She went too far.
Are you here for Lady?
Yeah, what happened? Her hand wound.
There it is.
Staff nurse. She okay? We sent her on. When we opened her up, we discovered
Victim's head.
fasciitis. MRSA is a drug-resistant form of flesh-eating bacteria. We attempted to extract all the dead tissue, but the infection had already invaded the chest cavity. How serious is it? If she has family, they need to come immediately.
Wait, what? That's insane. I was just with her. She was fine. You must be able to do something.
Just to make her as comfortable as possible. Does she know? We have to preserve her testimony for trial. Do we have time to get a camera taken? Sorry, her liver and kidneys have already shut down.
So, Matthew, you found the rest of our victim. I knew what we came here to find, but this is gruesome. The killer clearly brought Bridget's head to the playground to hide it. There's bound to be evidence on it. Let's get it to Dick. You also found a set of brass knuckles. You're right, something appears to be engraved on them, but I can't make out what. Can you dust them?
Jason.
And if you piece that torn photo back together, we may have a new lead. Just 12 hours. And let's take care of everything now. You piece the photo back together, Matthew. It appears to be a young woman holding a baby. Why would we find this family keepsake photograph ripped to shreds on a playground? You're right. The key to that photo must be in the identity of the young woman. Perhaps you can run a comparison of her features in the archives.
What do I have to do? I need to make a dying declaration. Lena, can you tell me what's happening to her right now?
Okay.
Because
Oh, this has got to be Bridget.
he was raping me. I'm amending the charges to include felony.
That's where she got the staph infection.
Maybe not. The young woman in that photo is a certain Sadie Smith, and according to our records, she had a daughter named Bridget Smith. Bridget Smith was then adopted by a family called Baker, so the infant in the photo must be Bridget. She was Sadie's daughter. You're right, Matthew. We must speak with Miss Smith to deliver the sad news about Bridget.
With murder, I have to tie her death to the rape. The dying declaration is still, he said, she said.
It's legal numbers.
I need that witness.
Any luck? She's a ghost. Car, banking records, utilities. I couldn't find so much as an email address.
Miss Smith, I'm afraid that we have some bad news for you.
I already checked it. Just out
Bad news? I haven't done anything wrong. Why do you police people need to speak with me?
She canceled it yet?
Your daughter, Bridget Baker, she was murdered earlier on the bridge between the riverbanks. Bridget? Murdered? No, it can't be. Oh, my baby girl. I was only her age when she was born. I had to give her up for adoption due to a medical condition I have. But I never forgot her. I even got a tattoo to always remember her by. And did you ever see her again after she was placed with the Baker family? Yes, I'd found her. She was living here on this very playground. We had reunited and we were going to be a family again, just Bridget and me, but now... Senior Trooper Matthew and I are very sorry for your loss, Miss Smith.
What do you want?
I need you to tell the grand jury what happened to Lena Monster.
I cannot do that.
I filed that Tony, the rapist, got no free notice.
I know the son of what happened to that girl. I did what I could to help her.
Tony the Scorpion.
And she went away. She survived. She died because of injuries she sustained during the rape.
Matthew, these brass knuckles you found belong to Tony the Scorpion.
Any chance she has.
That's Antonio the Scorpion Dante, the Italian gangster. We last saw him when we were investigating that slaughterhouse murder. He spends a lot of time beating up Irish people. He must be up to his elbows in this gang war. And you found Dante's brass knuckles on the same playground as the victim's head. He'd better explain this.
Where I come from, thousands of women have been raped. In the eastern provinces, it is used as a weapon of war. It is so
And let's see what he has to say. Mr. Dante, can you explain why Senior Trooper Matthew found your brass knuckles on the playground? Who are you beating up? No one, and if anyone's causing trouble, it's the Irish. Because of this gang war, the Italians are dying all over the place. It wears on a man to lose so much familia. I go to that playground to think, eat some stucco wafers like I used to when I was a kid. It beats going to some noisy dog race. It's peaceful there. A likely story. So I suppose in all this quiet, you didn't notice that the head of Bridget Baker was practically at your feet? Bridget who? That ain't no Italian name. You better ask the Irish. You can't blame the Irish for everything. If you're lying about Bridget, Senior Trooper Matthew will find you out.
She looked into my eyes and cried for her own eyes.
And I'll see you guys when the victim's head is done. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have come back. I've gotten all the stars. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the head. Matthew, I must say that I am quite pleased that you found the head of the victim. Now at least I have a complete body to analyze. Were you able to find any further information from it? Indeed, there were traces of powder on either side of the victim's head, between the jaw and the cheekbones, and they revealed themselves to be flea powder. However, Bridget Baker showed no sign of fleas either on her body or her head. The killer definitely left the powder on her when they picked up her head to hide it. So the killer has fleas. Matthew, they'd better not start an infestation in prison.
She understands.
Another thing, I received a bulletin warning that the St. Sulpicius Hospital has had a horrible flea problem of late. Oh, really? Since the killer has fleas, they may have picked them up at the hospital. You're right, Matthew. We should head back over there straight away.
I'm taking a leave of absence.
Oh, you're abandoning us again.
I'm taking a job with the International Criminal Court. I'm joining a newly formed task force going to be prosecuting crimes of sexual violence in areas of conflict. Wow. Natalie really got you. She inspired me.
Sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of the elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
Come on, relax. You're a mess. You're doing just fine. I'll take over for next time.
And kids gotta learn before you retire, right?
Let's go. Sarah Riley's not there. She's running late. No. She's always on time. You mind checking her in?
Fold a newspaper. And there we go. Got the first star.
Anybody here?
Hey, kids. What's the holdup, huh?
No one's home.
But only God can make this. Ranjal, what is salt? Dan, what is a tree? Only God can make a tree. Yes. Let's go back to planes.
Matthew, I am not sure why you think finding a medicine box in a hospital is so suspect.
1930s, Wiley Mills made record-breaking.
Oh, I see. Yes, it appears that someone has tried to open the box in a rather brusque manner. You can manage opening it with more finesse, and we'll see what attracted so much attention. And it appears that someone left a message in code for the victim on this newspaper. If you decipher the code, we'll be that much closer to knowing who left that message for Bridget.
Dan, what is Megan's law? That's it. B, Handgun Violence Prevention Act, passed in 1993. Whatever you're phrasing. What's the word? Thank you. Radio law. Right, Bill.
H29.
M, if it can go wrong, it will. That's it. And then 600.
There we go. The only thing in that medicine chest was a note. The note says, Bridget, stay away from the medicine. And it was signed by Nurse Hatchet. Nurse Hatchet never mentioned any conflict with the victim. We must demand clarification. Let's see what she has to say now. Nurse Hatchet, Senior Trooper Matthew found a note you wrote to Bridget Baker. You didn't mention any conflict with the victim before. That ragamuffin was a thorn in my side. She was more annoying than counting the fleas on my head. She was trying to steal medicine from my hospital. Miss Baker faked her illness in order to gain access to morphine that real patients need. I tried extra locks on the chest and she insisted on busting through them. So I moved all the medicine to a more secure location and I left her a note. She was caught red-handed trying to steal again and we threw her out of the hospital. And has she stolen anything, Nurse Hatchet? I am still running an inventory, but I assure you if I find out that she did, You'll what? The worst has already been done, and it better not have been done by you.
I take care of everyone. It's who I am. Okay? My mom, aunties, my sister.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to look that way.
Say it's because I put myself last. I'm always doing something for someone It's time to quit that cigarette for good. It's my time and it's my call.
Okay. You deciphered the code from the newspaper, Matthew. Those numbers are the message to the victim. Let's see what Eddie can make of them. And I'll see you guys when this is done in 12 hours. See y'all then. Alright folks, we have come back, and let's get the results of the set of numbers. Matthew, this is a fascinating number puzzle you sent me. Puzzle? What do you mean? The numbers you decipher corresponded to select answers from the crossword puzzle clues in this issue of the Concordian Gazette. They formed a message for the victim. The answers were choose your side, signs, bar, and tender. Well, choose your side is fairly clear. The message could be about the gang war, but bar and tender. The bartender. Matthew, you're right. That has to be Dermot. He sent this message to the victim. So he lied. He said he never spoken to the victim, but he clearly sent a coded message to Bridget and about the gang war of all things. Dermot had better explain this message to us at once. Dermot McMurphy, how dare you lie to me and Senior Trooper Matthew? You sent a coded message for Bridget Baker telling her to choose a side. Were you trying to make her take part in the gang war? Tell us the truth. Have you joined the Irish gang? Ah, this feels worse than my fleas. Alright, here goes. Yes, I joined the Irish gang. What? How could you? I had no choice. You don't know what it's like. I have to fight for my own, Maddie. I like to just sit around eating stucco wafers, but the Italians are killing all the Irish. You gotta stand up for yourself or die. I told Bridget this isn't a day at the dog races. This is life or death. Either you're with us or against us. And so you killed Bridget when she refused to make a choice? No, Maddie, never. How could you think that of me? Matthew, Crimson Banks remains a war zone with these Irish and Italian gangs. Now a young girl has been decapitated. What is happening here? We're making some progress, Chief. We still don't know who killed Bridget or why, but we found her missing head, and we have suspects. Nurse Hatchet forcibly removed Bridget from the hospital after she was caught trying to steal medicine. And Dermot McMurphy joined the Irish gang and tried to pressure Bridget to join up too. And Antonio Dante turned up again, like a bad penny, lurking around the playground when we found the victim's head. Matthew, you've got to stop him. What are you on about, Constable Ramirez? Stop whom? The Scorpion. Antonio Dante is pouring kerosene all over the playground. What in the world? We'll find out why he's doing that in Chapter 3. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we've come back. Let's start Chapter 3 of Burning Bridges. Matthew, we're having a terrible press day with the gang war destroying Crimson Banks. Tell me you got news on your murder investigation at least. We're making some progress, Chief. We still don't know who decapitated Bridget or... Matthew, you've got to stop him. What are you on about, Constable Ramirez? Stop whom? The Scorpion. Antonio Dante is pouring kerosene all over the playground where you found the victim's head. What? We must stop him at once. This could be dangerous. I'll come with you. Stay on alert, Matthew. Not a step closer, Senior Trooper Matthew, or I'll toss the smash and this place will go up in flames. I don't think so. Oh. Alright, Senior Trooper Matthew, I'll come quietly. Nice shot, Rose. Yes, you will. Antonio Dante, you're under arrest for attempted arson. Mr. Dante, why on earth would you want to set fire to the playground? We know that Bridget Baker was living there, and that's also where we found her head. Were you trying to destroy evidence? I was trying to send a message to the Irish gang. I knew that the Baker girl was spying on us Italians for them. So you knew her. And you say she was spying on you? I find that far-fetched, Mr. Dante. She was just a street urchin who did odd jobs. Say use, says use. I say that the only odd thing about that Baker girl's jobs was that somehow, after her work was done, the Irish always seemed able to kill more of us Italians. So you decided to send a message to them. Was killing Bridget part of the message? I didn't kill that girl. The only creepy critters I've killed recently are my fleas. You'd better hope that the evidence doesn't prove you killed her, or you'll be staying in this prison for a long, long time. Matthew, Mr. Dante claims that Bridget was spying for the Irish, but Dermot said that the victim refused to get involved with the gang war. So what's the truth? I agree. Since Bridget lived at the playground, we should have another look there before Mr. Dante's kerosene destroys any clues. That is pretty freaky. That costume, I mean. Didn't get it. Oh well. Ugh, Matthew. This playground still reeks of kerosene. But never mind that. There's a message on this wooden plank. Someone wrote, Bridget is a liar. And that someone also seems to have left the substance on the plank. If you collect some of the substance, we may have another lead. And that empty bottle has morphine written on the label. Why on earth would anyone leave a morphine bottle at a children's playground? You're right, Matthew. Your Justin kit could show us more information about what this bottle is doing here. Let's get to it. Let's do everything now. There we are. Black powder. Matthew, you have a sample of the substance from that angry message about the victim. A quick view under the microscope will help determine what it is. Ah, just missed the 9. Newspaper ink. The substance on the sign defaming the victim was pigment for newspaper ink. Spot on, Matthew. One of the suspects would have newspaper ink all over his hands every day. Timmy Tanner, the newsie. Timmy told us he and Bridget were friends, so we'd better ask him why he was angry at her. Timmy, Senior Trooper Matthew found the sign you made at the playground. Why did you call Bridget Baker a liar? Because she was a liar. A stinking liar. Bridget promised to protect me and she didn't. Protect you from what? The gangs. We were going to survive together. She was all I had after my parents died. I was barely scraping by, eating stolen stucco wafers for dinner, but she found me outside the dog race track, said we'd always stick together. She even took me to the hospital after I was mugged. I caught every flea in the place. But when the gang fighting turned into a war, Bridget forgot me. I was yesterday's news. I was angry, but I never wanted her to die, Senior Trooper Matthew. Maybe if we'd stuck together, she'd still be alive. He's in the running now. Fingerprints. Matthew, the rest of the label on that bottle says property of St. Sulpicius Hospital. You're right. We heard that Bridget had tried to steal medicine. Could this be some of it? The fingerprints will tell us, but there are so many on this bottle. We'll need Evie's help sorting them out. Oops. That I did not want to do. My mistake there. And I'll get all the stars. I'll see y'all then. Okay, folks, we have come back. Let's get the results of the fingerprints on the morphine bottle. Matthew, the fingerprints on the bottle you sent for analysis told a surprising story. Firstly, some of the fingerprints did belong to Bridget Baker. So she did steal from the hospital's supplies. Why? The other set of fingerprints may hold the answer, Matthew. They belong to Sadie Smith. The victim's mother? We must speak to Miss Smith at once and get to the bottom of this morphine mystery.
This portion of the Kenny Joe interview is sponsored by Spectrum OC60. Still 100% original, 100% local.
Miss Smith, we found a morphine bottle at the playground and... You found it? I've been looking all over for it. Is there any left inside? Not a drop. We take it that you have a fondness for morphine. Did Bridget steal it for you? Yes, she stole it. I told her I needed it for pain. Her poor mother. But when Bridget found out I was addicted to it, do you know what she did? She dumped all the morphine on the ground. On the ground! I had to eat stucco wafers all day to cure myself of the jitters and creeps. Can you believe it? She tortured me. She's still torturing me. Miss Smith, you must get some help, and I hope you didn't kill your own daughter over morphine, or you'll be getting that help in the prison hospital. Matthew, there's no rest between the gang war tearing up Crimson Banks and Dante nearly setting the playground on fire. He certainly held a grudge against Bridget, as did her morphine addict mother. Could Sadie Smith have killed Bridget for pouring out her drugs? You're right, Matthew. If we ever hope to solve this case, we must return to the crime scene.
There's never been a better time to try something different. Every day of the week, get a featured 6-inch Subway sub for just $4. All with no artificial flavors. The $4 sub of the day. We took an already great lineup and made it better. Now at the Honda Celebration Sales Event, you can get a great deal on Honda Civic and keep things festive all summer long. Your unforgettable summer begins today with a trip to the Honda Civic local Hyundai.
machete plate. Thank God, I love that.
Still visible. Police say the man went to the County of Leon in the middle of the night and stole motors from multiple boats. Stop them here. It can be pricey. If you recognize him and have information, it's another call. Good cash.
A big shakeup at the White House. Press Secretary Sean Spicer has resigned. He said he's stepping aside so President Trump and his team can have a clean slate. As Spicer leaves, a new face enters the fold.
Matthew, look at all the blood on that machete. Do you think this could be the knife that cut off Bridget's head? You're right. Something seems to be mixed in with the blood on the handle. We better collect a sample of that stain. And I agree. Searching through that rubble is a capital idea. There could be a clue hidden there. We're on the right track. I can feel it.
And the Sarah he is referring to is Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She will now move into the role of White House press secretary.
Let's not account details on your last chance to stock your own bookshelves. Some great reading material.
Get a good market too, and not using a little sticker.
Goggles.
Postcard safety.
Matthew, those look like the goggles that Bridget Baker used to wear. And they were under all that rubble. The goggles must have fallen off during the murder. We must get them to Viola at once.
How is one defying performance? Is it the waking of an iron horse sweeping beneath the hood?
15 hours.
Or some pistons humming a fiery tune? Is it a turn of a key, the hush of a gas pedal, a touch of a steering wheel? Or is performance defined in the rumble and roar of everyday moments? Texaco with Teflon, driving for performance. When a pedigree of power
Matthew, let's get the sample from the machete's handle to Viola and hope it'll lead us to the killer.
turning style, the family becomes a dynasty. The BMW 3 Series and 4 Series Grand Coupe. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Lease a BMW 320i.
And this will be 9 hours, and I'll see you guys when these two are done. And tomorrow, I'll put a killer behind bars. See you then. Okay, folks, we have returned. Let's get the results of the goggles. First. So, Viola, did you find anything the killer left on the victim's goggles? I certainly found something. A strange crisscrossing pattern made in dried blood. The blood wasn't exploitable, but I compared the pattern it left to a variety of cloths and found that it was left by a gauze bandage. A gauze bandage. The victim was clearly not wearing a bandage, so it must have been the killer accidentally leaving this pattern on the victim's goggles. So the killer wears a bandage for a wound of some kind. That's a hard identifier to hide. We're onto them, Matthew. Matthew, the sample you collected from that machete told an interesting but gruesome story. First of all, as you guessed, the blood in the sample was the victim's, so the machete is definitely your murder weapon. The killer must have lunged at the victim with the machete and slashed ruthlessly at her neck, extinguishing her young life. We get the picture. And what about the green substance in the sample? We've seen it before, back in Sinner's End. It's the green tea tincture that people have been using to heal tattoos. That means that the killer has been using the tincture on a recent tattoo of their own. So the killer has some ink, do they? That narrows down the list of suspects. Matthew, we have all we need to arrest Bridget Baker's killer and put them behind bars. Let's do this. Wait a minute. Not Jemima Hatchett. It's not Dermot McMurphy. And it's definitely not Sadie Smith. Damn, I would have loved to arrest this dumbass Antonio Dante. It's Timmy Tanner. pretty sure. Yep. Timmy Tanner, you're under arrest for the murder of Bridget Baker. What? I could never kill Bridget. She was my friend. If she was your friend, how come you left your stuck-away for crumbs on her dead body? I don't know what you're talking about. That was somebody else. It had to be. What about her head? Was that supposed to be a souvenir? You took it to the playground. No, I wouldn't do something like that. Do you think I'm some kind of monster? It's useless to lie. We know you cut her head off with a machete. You left a tincture for your new tattoo on it. It was an accident. I didn't mean to kill her. After I was mugged by some gang members last time, I stole a big knife and always had it with me. I swore they wouldn't get me so easily again. And today there was gang fights everywhere. I knew I was in danger, so I tried to hide behind the crates just as I heard someone walking by. Someone grabbed me. I turned around, but I couldn't recognize who it was. I could only see their silhouette against the burning skies. I was sure they were about to attack me, so I screamed and swung at their neck with everything I had. I cut their head right off, but when I saw it on the ground, I realized it was Bridget. I'd killed my only friend. And why did you carry her head away to the playground? I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't mean to kill her, I swear. Whether you meant to or not, Timmy, I'm afraid we must place you under arrest. Timothy Tanner, you are before this court in the matter of the murder of Bridget Baker by decapitation. I never meant to, Your Honor. I was terrified. I thought I was defending myself. You don't know what it's like with this gang war. You're always afraid, never knowing when you'll catch a stray bullet or who will come after you. It is truly sad to see one so young going behind bars for a crime that never would have happened, but for this gang war. This court recognizes that society failed you, Timmy, but the law demands that you be sent to a correctional facility for youths with mandatory counseling sessions. Oh, Bridget, what have I done? Senior Trooper Matthew, today was a hard day to be a judge. I never thought I'd have to sentence one traumatized child for the murder of another. Yes, it's awful to see how this gang war is tearing at the moral fabric of Crimson Banks. Both the Irish and the Italian gangs are on their last legs. Hardly anyone's left to fight, but they'll clearly go on until the bitter end. Matthew, we must find out what they're planning and stop them before more innocents are swept up into this gang war. Take a look at the others. Jemima Hatchett cleared from the start. Dermot McMurphy, no bandage. Sadie Smith cleared early, no dog races. Antonio Dante, no tattoo. It was Timmy Tanner. I'll see you guys for A Plague on Both Your Houses, 5-6. Okay, folks, we have returned. Let's start A Plague on Both Your Houses, 5-6. I agree, Judge Lawson. Childhood friends are killing each other out of pure terror. We must do something. If only there were a safe space established for these poor street children. But where? Excellent point, Matthew. The gang war fighting hasn't reached the hospital. Perhaps you can help create a safe space for them there. Capital idea. You should talk to Nurse Hatchet and... Matthew, I saw him! I saw him! Catch your breath, Constable Ramirez. Who did you see? Seamus, the new Irish gang leader. He was at the playground, but he looked different somehow. Maybe it was the giant beard. Seamus? Well, beard or not, Matthew, we must go to the playground and investigate. This is our opportunity to strike at the gangs. You must get to the playground, Matthew. I understand. After that, we can meet at the hospital to speak with Nurse Hatchet. Moment, folks. Okay. Scout the playground first. Fake beard. You found a false beard. Could this be what Constable Ramirez believed Samus was wearing? And look, there's some sort of substance on the fake hair. If you collect a sample of it, we'll be able to get to the bottom of this. I don't want to say Ramirez is cracking up at all. From a distance, anybody can mistake that fake beard to be a real one. You've got the sample of the substance from the false beard. Excellent. Now to send it to Viola, post haste. I'm gonna have to transfer these videos in my tablet. Oh, 3 hours only. Cool. And let's talk to Nurse Hatchet. Nurse Hatchet, my name is Justin Lawson, and I'm a judge here in Concordia. We're here to... If you're here to complain, keep walking. This hospital's too busy to have a complaints department. Indeed, ma'am, we've actually come to you for help. You see, the street children of Crimson Banks are in dire need of a safe space during this gang war. Do you think that the hospital could spare a wing to house them temporarily? Have you lost your mind? This hospital is already a zoo. And besides, we treat patients here. We only have room for people who are ill or gravely injured. But so many street children are being gravely injured, even dying. Wouldn't you like to help prevent this? These street children are innocent. Don't you remember what it was like to be a child? I lost all memory of my childhood the day I lost my favorite doll on the Crimson Bridge. Now shoo, remove yourselves. I have work to do. Well, that conversation did not go as I had hoped. But did you hear what she said, Senior Trooper Matthew? She lost her doll on the bridge. I know it's a long shot, but if you were to find it, perhaps it would warm Nurse Hatchet's heart to our concerns. Let's go. Ah, I see it. Torn ragdoll. Senior Trooper Matthew, it may be too optimistic to hope those decrepit pieces could be Nurse Hatchet's doll after all these years, but let's try to put it back together and see. Senior Trooper Matthew, it's impossible to tell at a glance whether this ragdoll belongs to Nurse Hatchet. But your Miss Pemberton can surely tell us, and if we're on the right track, this doll could change everything for the children of Crimson Banks. It's 2. And this is 9 hours, while the other one is 3. Okay. I'll see you guys when these 2 are finished. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's get the results of the red substance and put a killer behind bars. Matthew, you'll be interested to know that the sample you got off that false beard was lipstick. Lipstick on a false beard? What on earth? But wait, there's more. The color of the lipstick perfectly matched the shade Giulietta Capesci wears. Giulietta Capesci? Why would she be wearing a false beard? You're right, Matthew. That doesn't make sense. But she might have been kissing the person who was wearing it. And if that person was Samus, Giulietta had better come clean. Matthew, we must speak to her straight away. Well, actually, we already put a killer behind bars. My mistake there. Let's talk to Giulietta. Ooh. Well, I'll be. Samus O'Neil, we've got you now. Senior Trooper Matthew, no. Samus O'Neil, you're under arrest for... No, Samus, run! I love you! Oh. Dash it all! I'll go after her, Matthew. You can stay with Giulietta. Dash it all, Matthew. Samus got away. These heels were not made for running. Thank goodness for that. Senior Trooper Matthew won't let him stay lost for long. Now you owe us some answers, Giulietta. Well, what do you know? Miss Capesci, you told us that you hated Samus, but you've been covering for him all this time. I had to protect him, Senior Trooper Matthew. We love each other. After he killed my father, I thought I'd never forgive him, but I've realized that it's the gang war's fault, not Samus's. He never wanted this, and I can't live without him. Samus and I want to leave this gang nightmare behind forever. Yet we know that Samus is leading the Irish gang. That is hardly leaving the gang war behind. Samus only took over the Irish gang to make sure that no harm came to me. Being the leader, he could sabotage the gang from the inside. If that's the case, why are so many people dying? Why is the gang war still going? Well, it's not that easy, but we do want this war to end so that we can be together. By decimating both gangs, you and Samus should have come to us, and you should have given us information about your mother's gang war plans too. I swear to you, in the future I will. If I hear of my mother's planning anything, you'll know at once. Please take this to prove that I am sincere. Ooh. And let's get the results of the doll. Matthew, I'm sorry, I'll be right with you, but my mother... Viola, for the last time, your real father is the man who raised you. That's not what the science says, Mother. I will not discuss this matter further. I only hope that you come to your senses on this matter. Good day. Miss Pemberton, I don't mean to pry, but that seemed a rather serious discussion. It was. You see, the DNA machine confirmed that the man who helped raise me is not my biological father. My mother admitted it was true, but she refuses to say anything more. Oh my, that is serious. Perhaps you should let the matter rest. Judge Lawson, I am a scientist. My mission in life is to get to the truth, be it in solving a murder or finding the identity of my biological father. I see. And I suppose the matter of the rag doll we brought you seems insignificant at the moment, but never fear, I have not forgotten my duties. I was able to extract a hair from the doll. I analyzed the hair in the DNA machine, then compared the DNA from the hair to the sample we have from Nurse Jemima Hatchet. It was a match. This is her doll. Excellent. Senior Trooper Matthew, perhaps the sight of her favorite doll will help get Nurse Hatchet on our side to help the street urchins of Crimson Banks. Nurse Hatchet, Senior Trooper Matthew put considerable care into making this reunion possible. Oh my, it can't be true. That's Miss Sunshine, my old doll. I'll never forget how vulnerable I felt when I lost her. None of the adults even cared. There, you see? And none of the adults in Crimson Bank seem to care about these street children caught in the heart of a gang war. But you could change that forever, Nurse Hatchet. You're right. Maybe building a safe space here for these children is the thing to do. But first, I must make the hospital a wholesome place for them. And I didn't want to tell you before, but we're having some trouble with illegal gambling rings here. I've tried rooting the rings out, but it's no use. I just know Dermot McMurphy must be behind them somehow. Dermot McMurphy. He's a known member of the Irish gang now. It doesn't surprise me that he'd set up an illegal gambling ring in a hospital. We will have to search the premises for proof of his illegal activity, and I hope you won't mind if we grab a bite to eat beforehand. Aha! There we go. Now, why on earth would an anatomical mannequin be locked? You're right, Matthew. This would be a perfect hiding place. You must open that mannequin and find out at once. Examine it. I can see the lock. Oh, great. $28828. Uh-huh. $68268. Ugh. $68262. There we go. Again, this is a very tedious process. Hello. Holy smokes! That is quite a lot of cash stashed in that anatomical mannequin. And what's this? A coaster from an establishment called Patty Wax. Didn't that McMurphy fellow own that pub? This is the proof we needed to show that McMurphy was running an illegal gambling ring here at the hospital. We must confront him immediately. Oh, Senior Trooper Matthew, it's you again. And Maddie's not with you this time. Is she still spitting feathers about me being in the gang? She is, as are we all. But we're here about your more localized illegal activities. I'm not quite sure what you mean by localized illegal activities. Sure you do. Senior Trooper Matthew found your stash of winnings. You've set up quite the gambling ring right here in the hospital. Right, that localized illegal activity, sure. Not so long ago, you were detained for running an underground fight club under your pub, and now it's a gambling ring. You certainly don't change. Dermot McMurphy, you're under arrest, and this time you won't be let off so easily, and Senior Trooper Matthew will confiscate your illegal winnings. Come along, Senior Trooper Matthew. Let's go give Nurse Hatchet the good news. The hospital is cleared of illicit activities and ready to receive children. Nurse Hatchet, you'll be happy to know that the hospital gambling ring has been closed down and McMurphy is under arrest. Wonderful! Now I can create a safe space for the street urchins here at the hospital. I'm already making preparations. Senior Trooper Matthew, I know I've come across as a tad cold at times, but you see enough darkness and it gets to you. But you reminded me that there's good in this world. So thank you, Senior Trooper Matthew, and Judge Lawson, for everything you've done. All in a day's work. Senior Trooper Matthew, I am quite pleased that we were able to establish a safe space for the street children at the hospital. Yes, indeed. It sets a shining example for all of Concordia to follow. But I'll admit, I'm still reeling from the discovery that Giulietta and Samus have been seeing each other all this time. We were so close to catching Samus, but he got away, and Giulietta claims that they both simply want the gang war to be over. Apparently, they were feeding each other information about the gang's activities, which has done nothing to reduce the casualties. At this time, we rounded up many members of both gangs, most recently Antonio Dante and Dermot McMurphy. Yet there's no sight of Franca Capesci. Matthew, Giulietta sent you a note. It's about her mother. Franca Capesci is planning to detonate a bomb at the train station. Uh-oh. Will be released July 27th. But first, three new ones. A rare card. Oh, but it's something I already have. Only two new ones. Four new ones. Quite a bit of stickers here. That'll do. I'll see you guys on July 27th. See y'all then.